Hello and welcome to Landon
Hey,
Live.
hey, it's Landon.
Hey,
Landon Live right there. See? Landon Live.
yeah.
And I'm
Perfect.
Jim and I'm live. We're both live.
Great.
It's fantastic.
All right, awesome. So what we'll do is we'll wait for people to join in the room. Welcome to Landon Live. Tonight we've got the amazing Jim Barber. You do comedy. Comedy. You're a singer. You're a ventriloquist. You do impressions. You've got this whole gambit of I mean, you're an entertainer. And
I play a doctor on TV too. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I just like having fun, so I do everything. I mean, everything I can. I don't do everything well, but I like to do everything I can. So.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. Okay, so here we're sharing this to the groups. So all the ventriloquist groups can be part of this interview too. So what was your introduction to ventriloquism? How'd you get started?
Well, I grew up in the Black Hills of South Dakota, which is not exactly the bastion of show business. We have Mount Rushmore that everyone's seen recently with Donald Trump, and the Badlands and the beautiful Black Hills, of course. But I didn't know anyone in show business, let alone ventriloquism. But I used to see Sherry Lewis on television and Edgar Bergen on TV, and I really got interested when I was about 9, 10 years old, when I got a Danny O'Day figure for Christmas. Just like a lot of kids started out with a Danny O'Day, and I practiced in my room and put together a little magic show with a friend of mine, and we made up posters and put them all over the neighborhood. We called ourselves Greff the Great and Barber the Boob, and it was a comedy magic variety show. There I am, yeah, I'm 10 years old with my little Christmas present, and they were all concerned about me as a child, but that's it. That's little Freddie. I named him Freddie.
Yeah.
Because of a ventriloquist that I saw, Aaron Williams, Aaron and Freddie. I saw him on a television show. I think it was the Scoey Mitchell show, I remember, but I was a little kid and I saw Aaron Williams and Freddie do this funny routine. And so I imitated him and I did his jokes, which were adult jokes. So it looked really odd for a little kid to be doing adult humor. But
it's like the junior open mic at convention.
Yeah, exactly. And then over the years, I started putting together birthday party shows, and I would do just about every birthday party in my hometown. I was like 13 years old and did magic tricks and comedy. And I got my first professional ventriloquist dummy at 13, and his name was Freddie too. And
yeah, we have a photo here. Let's share that.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, there. I'm about 18 or 19 right there. I've got the John Denver haircut going there. And so that's Freddie. He was made by a company called Izzy Rizzy, which I believe was actually made by one of the Mayer studio folks. But it's the slotless jaw. So there's no slot there, you see.
Right.
And so I used Freddie throughout high school and then college. And I studied engineering to be a civil engineer and an architect. But the highlight of my engineering year was that I won the talent contest with my ventriloquist act. In fact, that's the award. That's the contest I won.
Oh,
and
wow.
So I decided I wanted to be in show business. So I went to the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis, where they had a theater program and a broadcasting program. And I started doing my show in broadcasting classes and things like that, and taking theater classes. And I got an internship at a local talk show on KSTP television. And one of the cameramen there said to me, "Hey, there's another station in town that has a kids show that is coming back after being off the air for 10 years. It's called Breakfast with Casey Jones." And Casey was a famous railroad engineer character in the Twin Cities. For 30 years, he had his own kids TV show.
Okay.
His former partner had died 10 years previous, and they were starting the show back on. And so he said, "You'd be great as his sidekick." So I called up the studio and went over, and he said, "Well, we've already hired someone else for that part, but why don't you come on as a guest?" And so I came on as a guest with Freddie, and we did some bits. And long story short, we got along so well, the host and I, that they fired the other co-host and they hired me to be the co-host. And
Wow.
for the next 2.5 years, I was Charlie Caboose. And I played an assortment of characters: Flat Car Freddy, Hobo Harry. I had all these different puppets and characters that I did. And Roger Awesome was the man who played Casey Jones. He was my best buddy. I was 21 years old and he was in his 60s at the time. And we would go on every Friday and we would do 5 opening bits, and then we would do 5 closers, and then we would do 5 guest spots, and then I would come in with a box of props and we would do 5 bits where we just made stuff up on the spot. We didn't have any script. We didn't have any budget. It was like no budget, bad television, but it was so much fun.
That's crazy though. I mean, your schedule must have been packed. That sounds so chaotic and fun.
Well, it was an hour-and-a-half show, Monday through Friday,
Okay.
7 to 8:30 every morning. And but we did it all on a Friday. So I was a college student, and my Friday I kept free. So we just all day long we did recorded the show, and then we would do parades and ride in the floats and wave to the kids. And every once in a while I have people say, "Hey, I used to watch you on TV in the Twin Cities." But Roger was my really good friend. And then years later he came down to Branson and would visit. He'd bring tour groups here. And he was staying with me one time. He had a bad stroke and recovered, and then went back to Minnesota, and eventually he passed away, and I went up for his funeral. But that was one of the highlights of my career, really, even though I hadn't even started yet. Were you
doing ventriloquism on that show?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did. Lots of creative stuff with, I had a little baby character called Baby Snookums. And it was this ugly looking baby head, but the mouth didn't move. It was just, and I would make it talk. And then I had my dummy Flat Car Freddy. And about that time I met Todd Oliver, and Todd lived in the Twin Cities, and we became friends. And so Todd came on the show several times. I have some real incriminating video of Todd and I on the Casey Jones show, but it'll probably never see the light of day. But Todd was a great sport. He's a very, very talented person and a good friend. And but I made so many friends up in the Twin Cities during that time. And then after the show closed, when they sold the station, I had just graduated from college, and I had a job offer to go to Opryland in Nashville and perform on their new showboat, the General Jackson. And I had this new character that I had come up with called the Barber and Seville.
Yes.
And
Right here.
That's it. I'm my own dummy. And it came out of a dream I had one night, because when I was doing the Casey Jones show, I had to come up with so many new bits every week that I started having creative, weird dreams. And one night I dreamed I was watching David Copperfield do his magic illusion. And he walked out on stage with a little dummy, and the dummy grew big and David got small, and the dummy carried him off stage. And I woke up screaming, and I said, "Oh, what a great illusion. I'd love to do that, but I can't do that. That's David Copperfield's idea." And then I thought, wait a minute, it was my dream. It's my idea. So I built this character, and the photo you see is the second generation of it. But it was very unique, and I didn't realize it at the time. I still didn't know very many other ventriloquists, and I only heard about Vent Haven convention in 1985. I was 25 years old, and so I went there with some of my characters and performed in the amateur contest, and I won. And I met the greatest group of people that I consider to be family. And even though years might go by and we don't see each other all the time, you know, when we do get together, it's just like a reunion. And then just like when I met you, you know, every year you get older and you get better at your performing. And, you know, this is it's like a fraternity almost, and or a sorority. If you
you know, it's such a, it's, you know, the convention has such a neat dynamic, because my first convention was in 2016 and I was a lot younger, but I had looked up to, I still do look up to performers like you and Bob Rumba and so many others, Dan Horn, and I, you know, being able to meet you guys, and it was just such a neat experience, and to see you guys every year and see how you guys are doing and touch bases. It's such a neat thing.
And what's your name again? Oh, Landon. Oh, that Landon. Sorry.
Landon, it's right there. It's also there, over there. Landon
Yeah,
Live.
yeah. Landon
Yeah,
Live. Yeah.
yeah. But I
Is
have
that
some
your
photos.
last name? Leve? Is that your last name?
Yeah, it's yeah, Live. Yeah,
Landon Leve. Okay,
yeah.
right.
It's a family name. Um, we've got this photo from, I don't know which convention this is. Maybe you can help us there.
Oh, well, that's it's past 85. I'm not sure, but oh man, all those great faces, and man, half that group are gone. Well, almost half. Bob's half gone, but anyway, it's man, those are good times, and that's out at Vent Haven Museum, and you know, we I think I'm wearing white pants, and I think Jeff Dunham has white pants on as well. And it was the white pants era, I think. But
Speaking of,
oh, there's another one. Yep. See, there you go.
yeah.
And Al Seaman. Well, Al, man, that's just good memories. And
What was it like being able to, you know, meet your fellow performers and see kind of what they're up to in their own world? Because, you know, when you're a performer, you're working on your material, your characters, and getting bookings wherever your main audience is, and you're enveloped in this own world. And then when you go to convention, you know, worlds collide. What was that like for you, your first time?
it was very. I was a little nervous at first, but once I got there, it was like, hey, they're all like me. That, you know, it's like a kinship. You know, they like fun. People like fun. They're all friendly. Nobody judges anybody about anything, really. And it sparks your creativity when you see somebody do something that you go, oh man, I'd like to do that. But, you know, we don't like to copy each other. You know, it's sort of the unwritten rule is you don't copy, but you can be inspired by somebody and come up with an idea, maybe slightly based on that takes you in a whole nother direction. And when I went there, I didn't realize that I wasn't exactly like the standard ventriloquist act. You know, I started out that way with my little dummy, but when I started doing, you know, where I'm the dummy and talking guitars and things like that, it suddenly, oh, there's Strum. That's Strum the guitar. And I had two strums. The first one, that's actually the first one I made, and I donated that to the museum. The second one will go to the museum eventually, as will all of my characters. And I encourage all ventriloquists everywhere to do the same thing, because your characters mean a lot. There's a lot of history and a lot of stories there, and they'll live on forever at the Vent Haven Museum.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal thing. How would you define your style of comedy?
A lot of improv, make it up as I go.
Okay.
I've never been one to sit down and write material. I mean, I think I was fortunate when I was touring a lot in the college circuit. I had the basics of an act. I had different pieces of an act, but by getting out and every day doing a show with an audience every day and trying to ad lib and do things, once in a while you just say something that was so funny that just unexpectedly fell out of your head, and you know, if you're lucky and you can remember it at the end of the show, you add that in. And a lot of the material that I still use today are things that just happened on the spur of the moment, and I was able to remember them. I've had a lot of funny things that happened that I couldn't remember at all later, but and video helps with that too. You know, when I first started performing, when I was like your age, they didn't have video. We had home, you know, Super 8 movie cameras and things like that, but didn't have cell phones. You know, I had to go out and play with a stick. You know, that's how bad it was. And of course, when I was on the road touring, I was in the college circuit, which is a great place to work if you have the opportunity. You travel a lot. My routing was all over the place. Bob Kramer, I have to give Bob a little plug. He was my agent up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and he and his wife, Judy, basically they had another act that they were booking that got in some trouble. And when he met me, he said, hey, I've got a whole schedule I need to fill. And so I just, that quick, I went into a full year schedule. and that was in 1986. And my wife and I had just got married, and she was going to travel with me on the road, but that lasted about 2 weeks. And she said, you know what, I think I'm going to go get my master's degree. So we moved to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania from Nashville. And I spent the next 9 years traveling to about 2,000 college campuses around the country. And it was a great experience. I was getting kind of burned out though after the end of that time. And during that period, I had opened in Frankenmuth, Michigan, for a young guitar player by the name of Glenn Campbell, the Rhinestone Cowboy. And some young kids today don't recognize Glenn Campbell, but he's probably one of the greatest entertainers of history. We lost him a couple of years ago to Alzheimer's, but Glenn and I worked together for 3 days in Michigan, and then 6 years later, 6 years, they remembered me when they were putting a show together in this little town called Branson, Missouri, and they called me up and they said, we want a variety act for our variety show, and we'd like you to be in the show. And it was like an answer from a prayer, because I really needed to get off the road. I was getting burned out. And I came and worked with Glenn, and for the first time, I didn't have to do my own warm-up. Glenn Campbell introduced me himself, brought me out. He warmed up the audience first, and I came out. I mean, the audiences were great. Back in those days in Branson, we had a 2,000-seat theater. We'd sell out 3 shows a day, and the money was good, and it was, life was great. I was in my mid-30s at the time, and loved it. And about that time, there was a thing called the internet coming on, and so I taught myself HTML, which is a coding language, and I designed Glenn Campbell's first website for him, and then kept performing with Glenn. And then that show closed after 3 years. Glenn was itching to get back out on the road and tour, so I got to do some touring with Glenn a little bit, and then his friends, the Smothers Brothers, invited me on a little tour with them. And out of that, I got to do a lot of television shows. Nashville Network at the time had a lot of country shows out of Nashville on TV. My manager that I had during that time also got me on several A&E comedy shows and some other things. And I was at this point where I had to decide, am I going to go into television? Jeff Dunham was just getting started in television at that time too. Or am I going to stay here in Branson? I loved Branson because it was like I could go and perform these great shows in front of an audience and go home to my own bed every night. You don't become famous, but you have a normal lifestyle. And it got to be where I really preferred being at home and getting involved in the community. And I was active in the Chamber of Commerce and other organizations like Habitat for Humanity and things like that. And so I stayed and commuted back and forth from Philadelphia. But then the internet was getting stronger, and there was this new thing called multimedia. And the Art Institute of Philadelphia was offering this multimedia course, learn to do 3D animation and graphic design and digital video, because the video I did in college was deck to deck editing, and splicing tape with a razor blade. And so my wife, unbeknownst to me, when I was off on a tour, picked me up at the airport and said, we're going to go downtown. I signed you up for that 2-year program at the Art Institute. And I can't go back to school. How am I going to go back to school? I've got to work. And then I went and saw what they were doing, and it was just like going to the Ventriloquist convention. Everyone was like me. They were artists, performers that were creative, and they wanted to learn about this new format of digital multimedia. So for 2 years, I went to school, and in the day, during the week, and then on the weekends, I went up to resorts up in the Poconos and the Catskills, and I performed in a lot of the different dinner theaters and clubs up there. And at the end of that time, I had a couple job offers to go and be a professional animator in New Jersey, but I also got some offers, and my wife decided, let's move back to Branson. You can open a multimedia studio. You can do a show. My wife did a lot of musical theater. She traveled up and down the East Coast.
Mhm.
She studied in New York City with Mariah Carey's mother, Patricia Carey,
Oh, wow.
was her vocal coach. I had 3 lessons with Patricia Carey, and she showed me what I was doing wrong with my voice and helped me find my singing voice. So I credit Mariah Carey's mother for that. But Diane eventually got into interior design, and we came back to Branson. She started an interior design business. I was performing in a show, and then started a multimedia business with a friend here in town, and did that for many years, multimedia on the side, and then perform at shows in the evening. I worked with a magician named Kirby Van Birch, and then I worked with the Osmond family on an ice show. Their show was on ice, so I had to wear spikes on my boots so I wouldn't slip, and I did my act on the ice. And then Jimmy Osmond had a show called the American Jukebox Show, which was a all animation video with song and dance, and I created all the animation videos for that, and then performed in the show. And a magician and I shared a dressing room, Dave Hamner, and after that show closed, we had an opportunity to go and create our own show that we called the Hamner Barber Show.
Yes.
And we ended up doing that for 10 years, ended up buying the theater together. And then after 10 years, it was the economy was kind of going south in the mid 2008, 9, 10. Right. And I just knew I had to get out of that business, and we were kind of going in different directions. So I stepped aside at the end of 2013, and I was going to take a 3-month job on some cruise ships that turned into a 1.5 years. They just kept booking me. And I was never home, and I really wanted to get back and be with my family. So I told the cruise lines, the agent, let's not book anymore right now. I need to take a break. And I came home after my last cruise, and my wife wasn't feeling well. And we found out a couple weeks later that she had something wrong. We didn't know what it was. And I had just accepted a marketing job for a resort on the lake here, and was doing all their marketing. And then a few days after that, we learned that she had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And in 3 months, she was gone. And my whole world was just upside down at that point. My daughter was 14 years old, and I couldn't be off doing shows or marketing and things. So I moved everything into my home studio, and I did multimedia from home. And so I could be there for her to raise her. Yeah. And kind of stepped out of the show business for a while. I didn't do shows. I filled in for a lot of fundraisers and benefits, and emceed a lot of events. And I still stayed active in community events through the Salvation Army and a place called Faith Community Health Clinic and different things. Our local arts council, the Branson Arts Council, hired me to create a new website for them. And then a couple months after that, their director of the last 13 years, Bonnie Herman, decided she wanted to retire, and they twisted my arm real hard, and I took the job as the executive director of our arts council. And at the same time, we had an opportunity. Yeah, go ahead.
What did that entail? You taking that, like, you taking that job? What did that entail? Like, what were your responsibilities?
Well, at the time, they were mainly doing arts type, visual arts classes, and some exhibitions for artists and things. But I knew some of the new board members on there, and they were into community theater. And we had this goal to build a community theater program. And so we were able to take over, I guess is a good word. We are leasing. We have an option to purchase. We made a purchase option on a historic theater in downtown Branson, built in 1936. It's really cool. Stone walls, big beam ceiling, and a lot of history. And so we started doing community productions, and we do about 9 or 10 major musicals and plays a year. Plus we started a youth education program. So we have classes in dance and voice and acting and visual arts. We put in a little rock room art gallery in the front of the theater. So we have artist exhibitions there. We also have a major art gallery at the Branson Convention Center, and we rotate artists in and out of there.
Mhm.
And suddenly this job got really busy. And I'm the only full-time employee that I work for. We have a board of directors
Mhm.
who I work for. And then we have hundreds of volunteers who come in and whether they're actors or behind the scenes or technicians. And we put on these really fantastic shows. We have so much great talent in this community. And so the level is way above what most people think of when they think of community theater.
Mhm.
And we've just had so much fun with the shows. And this was our third season this year.
Mhm.
And we opened with The Wizard of Oz, had a great, great production. Our next show was the play The Odd Couple, the Neil Simon comedy.
Mhm.
And we got the set built. The show is ready to open in 2 days, and COVID hits, and everything's shutting down. We
Yeah.
can't have a group of 50. Then we can't have a group of more than 10. And
Right.
then, we only have 200 seats in our theater. So we said, all right, everything's on hold and we'll kind of see what happens. Well, eventually we realized, it's going to be a long time.
Mhm.
And so we pushed almost the entire season into next year, 2021. We took our musicals. We had sold a lot of tickets, a lot of season passes, and almost everybody said,
Mhm.
just leave my money there. We'll come and see it next year. We love what you do. And The Odd Couple, actually,
Wow.
we're going to be opening early in September, and we're still under
Okay.
social distancing. So we're only going to be able to put about 50 people per show in that, where we normally would have 200. So
Well, that's amazing how the community, where can people go to find out more about this?
we have a website because I built it. bransonarts.org, bransonarts.org, and you'll find all the things that we have going on there. We just started recently online classes because we wanted to get our kids that we work with back involved from home where it's safe. And so we have online acting classes. We have arts classes for kids, classes for adults. We've got an acting improv class that I'm actually taking right now too, because that's a lot of fun. And most of the classes that, as we speak right now, have already started, but we're going to be starting in the next 2 or 3 weeks, a whole new series of classes. And people from anywhere can sign up for these. You don't have to be in Branson. You can be in Australia if you want. You can join these classes. So
Wow, that's a truly neat thing, and that's just for the classes because it's online.
right.
Yeah, that's super neat. Cool.
And then we've got a lot of work coming up. But I've got a corporate show booked for January that I'm going to go off and do, and a few things. I get offers to go do shows all the time, and my daughter is old enough now that I could do that. She's actually 19, and she's getting ready to start college here in about 2 weeks, and is going to be going off. So, life is good. Plus, I got married again just 8 weeks ago. Met a wonderful gal named Melanie, and she and I make a good team. And so life is starting up again, and things are looking good. So, don't be surprised. I'll be out there again performing one of these days. But right now, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, helping to grow this program for our community and all the kids that, when I see a little kid go up on stage and they're nervous, their first rehearsals, they're nervous, the first performance, and then they get that standing ovation at the end of the show, man, these kids, their self-esteem goes through the roof, and it changes their lives. I mean, really, their whole lives change. And I just feel so good. It's really kind of my mission of what I'm doing. I almost think of it as a ministry of arts because I'm helping people through developing their own skills.
Wow, I love that. I love that. I'm kind of backtracking here. When we talked a little bit earlier about Barber and Seville, and I have this photo here. When did you add this character? Because this is a very funny shot from one of your live shows.
That's actually from the theater that I had, the Hamner Barber Theater here in Branson.
Okay.
And that's Diva. She is a, I'm blanking on the name. Help me.
Verna.
Verna, yes, Verna. How could I forget?
Verna.
Verna, I see
Yeah.
you. Verna Finley made that character for me, and she's made several since then. And Marianne Taylor now, who is Verna's student, makes a lot of puppets similar. But I think this was one of the first diva type singer puppets that she made, and I still use this one with the act. And the Barber and Seville sing, and then she comes out and she sings opera too. And we do the opera of the Barber of Seville. And then every year during election years, the Barber and Seville run for president. And that we have a song called Vote for Me. Vote for me, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. I think we do much better. Oh, I don't remember the lyrics right now, but I did a version of it recently for Trump and Biden. That was kind of funny.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
So that character has really been my hook. That's the thing that it's the hardest part of my show physically. And so I open with that to get it out of the way because it just about kills me every time I do it. But
Yeah.
it still gets really great laughs, and it's just so awkward to look at it. People go like this in the audience and they try to figure out how I'm standing there like that. And it became the thing that allowed me to do this professionally.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that eventually in the act, going back to this photo, you're performing a hard figure while you're performing a soft figure, and then trying to keep voices with who's doing what, and the manipulation and the movements, and then you're playing the role of the dummy, and it's so much, it's just such a great spectacle. It's just so funny.
Don't think about it too hard. But ventriloquism really is a great training for your mind that way, though. It helped me in acting because I could, imagine the other character's part in my head, not necessarily see it. But a lot of times you'll see actors in a play, and when someone else is saying their lines, the actor's imitating it, saying the lines along with them, not realizing they're doing it. And with ventriloquism, I mean, we're able to make that separation so that we know what the other character's saying, but we don't react to it early. We react in real time, just as though we're hearing it for the first time. And it's very interesting. And I've had psychologist friends want to analyze me, and I've had speech therapist friends want to know how I do it, because I've had people that work with patients that have facial paralysis, or they've had cancer and maybe lost part of their tongue, and they have speaking problems, or or if they're paralyzed, how can you talk? Well, in ventriloquism, you can still do it. So it's interesting. Hello? I think you're having a problem with the microphone. Hello?
I think so.
Hello?
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. What?
It sounds here. Hello?
Okay. Oh, there. Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay, great.
We're back. All right.
All right, we're back. Yeah. So, so this is cool. You also have a baby character you used. Was that inspired by the baby character that you used on the show?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
And I just call him Baby, and he's had many forms. This is the most recent one.
Love that shot right there.
Yeah, you can tell what I'm thinking. It's like, ooh, whew. And Verna made my first baby puppet that I used, and I used it so much it finally fell apart. And I had Marianne Taylor make me another baby puppet, but it looked a little older to me, so I made him into an older man puppet, and I used him for a few things. And then I found that puppet online, made in France, and it was a great puppet.
That's a hilarious bit too. It's just so funny, the interaction, and the I had seen the bit you do with it where you sing from Les Mis, and it's just. So do you still do that bit, or have you?
Of course I do.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah,
it's Les Mis. You have to do it. It's fantastic. But not the way I do it. I mean, I when I tell people I sing "Bring Him Home" from Les Mis with a puppet, they're gonna go, "What?"
I remember the first time I had seen it, I had chills because I was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's not gonna," And then you did it, and ending note with the baby, it was so funny. It's so great, so great. And then of course, we can't forget Chico Pete. Another great, I believe Verna.
Hola, Landon. Sí, Chico Pete. And Chico was a character that came to mind when I was in college. I studied Spanish and lived in Mexico. I lived in Cuernavaca, Mexico for 3 months with a family that only spoke Spanish. And sitting at a little cantina one day, I had a napkin and I sketched out this picture of a Chihuahua dog and carried it around for about 5 years, or actually longer than that, about 20 years, because it was the year I started with Glenn Campbell that I actually had that made into a real puppet by Verna. And I wanted to do it differently than I've seen other people do it, where you just hold a puppet. So I came up with that jacket and the arm, and he's in a backpack over my shoulder, and that's really one of my favorite characters to perform with is Chico Pete.
Yeah, and the movement too. When you see videos or you see the performance live, the movement is hilarious because he's right on your shoulder, and he's got such range.
And his eyes are so big and expressive.
Yes,
the shine from the lights on those eyes really bring him to life. Yeah,
it's awesome. It's phenomenal. I'm curious, what aspects from when you were taking classes with in theater did you translate to performing as a ventriloquist?
I think some of the physical things to do the Barber and Seville, the stretching and physical things that I learned in theater helped.
Sure.
Working with a partner in a scene probably is similar to working with a puppet in a routine. And so, I think that it's really hard for me to say because I grew up, I didn't do the standard routine. I did check out books in the library on ventriloquism and things like that, but I kind of self-taught myself because I didn't know anyone else who did it. There was a man in 1976, Grover Rui, who came through my hometown with a Spirit of 76 show. And I saw him, and I was 16 at the time. And I went up and introduced myself to him, and he reached out to shake my hand, and he was missing most of the fingers on this hand. And he told me that it was a woodworking accident. He cut his fingers off. And so he uses that hand inside his figure because it hides it from the audience. But he worked a lot of his characters. Sunshine was one of his characters. They're, they're at Vent Haven Museum right now. So it was fun to go back and see those characters. And but when I did go to Vent Haven, though, and I met so many wonderful ventriloquists and just the creativity that I saw, it just told me there's no limits. I mean, it's either as simple as you want it, as complicated as you want it. Just try to be yourself. Try to be original. If you're yourself and original, you're the best you there is, and nobody can be better than you. So,
yeah. Well, it's truly neat. We have a really fun video. Before I want to share that comment here from Bob Rumba. He says, "I miss being in Branson with you. I got to spend more time with you." And
Bob. I love Bob. He did perform in Branson quite a bit, and Bob also did a really big shoe. He was Ed Sullivan. Bob does a great Ed Sullivan. He does so many characters. I mean, he's just incredible. But one time he was in the audience. I didn't know he was in the audience, and I just heard him go, "Ah!" I heard him laugh, his laugh, and I stopped the show and I said, "Is Bob Rumba here?" And so, hi, Bob, if you're watching. Yes, love you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So we have, okay, so I have this clip. Let's see if I can share the screen. It's right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So can you talk a little bit about this before we show it? It is the clip of you as Donald Trump, and you're dancing in it, and there's a lot of different. When did you start your Trump impression, and how has that bit changed over the years?
When I was little, well, not little. I was living in Pennsylvania. I was in my 20s and early 30s. I'd go to New York a lot to see shows or auditions. Sorry. And people always said, "You look like Donald Trump." And I said, "Who's Donald Trump?" and I found out that he was a businessman in New York, and I did resemble him a little bit when I was younger too. And then he runs for president, and I hear it from everybody. You know, you look like Donald Trump. You look like Donald Trump. So one year for Christmas, the year he was running for president, I dressed up like Donald Trump, and I had on the suit and the tie, and you have to learn the voice. It's just fantastic. It's fantastic. And you have to do the hand movements, and you talk about the Fauci and all the things that you do. And that's the Donald Trump. It's fantastic right here. And I flew in on Air Force One. I was in a big hurry to get here. I was in such a hurry, they said I was Russian. But I'm not putting up with that anymore. But I'm here today with thousands of people outside the building. You can't see them, but there's thousands of people outside the building all over the world. And here I am. But so I started doing some Donald Trump, and then people started asking me, hey, we're doing a Meet the Candidates forum for all of the people running for office. Could you MC as Donald Trump? And hey, could you come and do a commercial for our organization as Donald Trump? Or hey, I'm a realtor. Can you do Donald Trump for my commercial? And and hey, it's getting. I think I've got the COVID. It's just, man, I need some Clorox. Here we go. Just incredible. All right. And so I started doing Donald Trump, and then Steve Axtell came up with this Kim Jong-un puppet that looked like Kim Jong-un, and I thought, oh, that'd be so great to have. And Steve was kind enough to make an extra one. He had one sent off to a Trump impersonator in London, and I'm told. And then I got this one, and I came up with this routine that you're about to show. And when I do it just normally, there's more Kim Jong-un in it. But I was earlier this year asked to participate in a fundraiser for our Branson High School called Dancing with the Stars of Branson. And I decided I'm going to do this routine. Jackie Bell is a great choreographer and dancer at a theater here in town. And she and I put this routine together, and we won first place. I never thought I'd win a dancing contest, but here it is.
All right, so here we go. This is just so fun. Here we go.
Barber and Jackie Bell. Tweedly tweet. Oh, I love the tweet, tweedly tweet. Put my hands to tweet, tweedly tweet. Oh, I love the tweet, 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 tweet. You stockpiled weapons all day long, going to them in Tokyo and old Hong Kong. He's Chairman Kim, a Dennis Rodman fan, but I like to call him Little Rocket Man. He's rocket launcher. Oh, rocket launcher, I'm really gonna stop you tonight. Alright, you know who I'm speaking about. Let's bring him out. It's the Jolly Fat Man. It's not Santa. It's Kim Jong-un and my lovely wife, Malaria. Isn't she contagious? Oh, Mr. Trump. You're going. Where are we going? To North Korea. There you go. You ain't my time, it's made in Thailand. Aren't I a good catch? my banjo.
This is so great.
Guitar. You're fired. Bernie Sanders. Oh, I love to treat, treat, treat. With my hands to treat, treat, treat. Oh, I love to treat, 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 treat.
Woo! I lost 10 pounds just watching that. Wow.
That is so. How long did that take you guys to rehearse? Because
we had, I think, 4 or 5 rehearsals together. Not very many. Jackie is a great dancer and a great teacher. I am not a dancer at all, and she was able to help me do that in a way that made me look like I was a dancer, but she really did all the work.
Well, I love. I always watch performers when they if they can use the full stage, and I love how you guys moved around the entire stage and you called people out from the audience, and it's just so funny. That's really it's just such a neat thing. I'm curious, what aspects would you say are important to define a quality entertainer?
Genuineness, be real, don't be fake. Don't put on airs, don't act like you're all that, because everybody in life is going to get knocked down at some point, and those are the moments that will define who you really are. And if you don't really know your sense of value, in morals and things, you can get caught up in this illusion of who you think you are, and at some point life's going to come down hard on you, and you need to you have to know what you stand for, you need to know what you believe in, and you need to be nice to people and be genuine, because there's a time in everyone's career when you're starting out at the bottom and you go up, and then you're at the top, and then you come down. Maybe you'll go up and down a little bit, but the old saying, be nice to people on the way up, because you'll meet them again on the way down. It's true. And I've seen lots of people in this business. The nicest people I've met were the big stars. The worst people I've met were the nobodies who thought they were a star, and they acted like they were a star, and they treated people rotten around them. But all the truly famous stars that I've met are genuinely nice people. They treat everyone with respect, and they're friendly. And I think that's one great thing I got to do when I came to Branson, is all my childhood heroes were here. Glenn Campbell, I used to watch him on TV. Jim Stafford, comedian, I used to watch him on television. Andy Williams, Tony Orlando, the Osmonds, all these guys became personal friends through living in Branson. And they're regular people like anybody else, but they just happen to work very hard at their craft. They had a lot of talent, but they treated people with respect, and they just didn't let it go to their head. And if they did let it go to their head, they got over it and they made up for it,
Sure. Could you share with us one of your most memorable and maybe best show memories, and one of like the weirdest or one of the funniest?
Let's see. Weirdest, I performed in all kinds of places, big stages, but I did a party inside a closet one time, and they called me to do a party at their house, and I was in my 20s, And I got to the house, and it was packed. I mean, no social distancing in those days. They had 100 people in this little tiny room, and they said, "Okay, come in and do your show." And I said, "Well, I got my table and all this. Where am I?" And they said, "Oh, I don't know." And I said, "Is that a closet? Can I stand in the closet?" So we opened the closet door, and I stood in the closet and did my act. So and after the act, I came out of the closet. It was great. So, and then let's see. Weirdest shows, I don't know. I've done so many. Nothing I can probably talk about on.
Maybe one of your favorite show memories.
Favorite?
Yeah, favorite show memories or something that.
Well, I think David Letterman show was one of my favorite memories. I never expected to ever be on that show, and I knew from what I heard from other people that David Letterman did not really like ventriloquists, but they came up with this concept called Ventriloquist Week, and they were going to have a famous ventriloquist every night for 5 nights. And the first week was booked up, but Jay Johnson was getting ready to open his show on Broadway, his live one-man show that he won an Emmy for. And so they called and said, "Jay may not be able to do the show on Monday. Could you fill in?" And Jeff Dunham had recommended me. Jeff said to them, "You're going to like this guy's act." And so I want to thank Jeff for that too. And so I said, "Yeah, I can do it." This was like Thursday or Friday. And then they said, "Well, hang on, we'll let you know." And so all weekend they kept saying, "Yeah, it doesn't look like Jay's going to be back. Doesn't look like Jay's going to do it." And then on Sunday, I was supposed to fly out the next morning. They said, "No, Jay's going to do it. Sorry, but if we do it again, we'll have you on the next time." And I thought, "Oh, they'll never do it again."
Yeah.
But it went over so great the first time. The ratings were really high, so that just a few weeks later, they did it, the Ventriloquist Week again, and they called to have me on. And so now I'm getting ready to fly out to New York to do the David Letterman show. And it's a Sunday, I think. And we get as far as Atlanta, and there's a major storm on the East Coast. And they say, "Sorry, folks, all the flights to New York are canceled. There won't be any flights for the next 2 days." And I'm like, "I got to get to New York." And they've been promoting that I was going to be on. And I said to the gal at the desk, I said, "Is there no way I can get to New York or Philadelphia or any place?" And she goes, "No, I'm sorry, sir." I said, "I'm supposed to be on the David Letterman show tomorrow." And she goes, "Let me see what I can do." So she starts typing, and she goes, "All right, there's one flight leaving to Philadelphia in 10 minutes. Somebody didn't check in, so I put you in their seats. If you run, you'll make it." And I said, "What about my bags?" She said, "They'll make it. Go on." So we ran, got on the plane, and the door shut right as we got on. And we took off, and of course my luggage did not get on the plane. The Barber in Seville, my whole act wasn't on the plane, but the weather broke, and so they were going to let one more flight come in to Philadelphia. Meanwhile, the driver in the 4-wheel drive from New York is coming down through the blizzard to pick me up at the airport. Next flight comes in, my stuff's not on the plane. The weather cleared again, another flight. My bags weren't there. Now we've got the head of NBC talking to the head of Delta, trying to send somebody to find my bags in these thousands of misplaced luggage bags. Finally, at midnight, the very last flight, my bags came in, and they drove me. I got to New York about 3 in the morning, got a couple hours sleep, went over to the studio, and I was just so relieved that I got there that I wasn't nervous at all. It was a lot of fun. And I rehearsed the routine with the band, Paul Schaefer and the band, a couple times. And then when I came out to do my act, David Letterman came over and shook my hand, and I started to pull my hand away, and he grabbed it tighter and pulled it back and kept shaking it. And then we cut to break, and then he said, "Hey, that was really great. Thank you so much." And the director, the people said, "Hey, that was great. If we do it again, we'll have you back." But they didn't do it again. So, but that was a highlight, just because I was so happy to be there. And then on the way back to Branson, then of course they lost my luggage again, and I had a show in Branson, and I opened it with the Barber in Seville usually, but that night I said, I just got back from New York. Here's why I can't do my act tonight. It got lost on the plane, but and then I showed a clip of the show that they gave me, and the audience went crazy, and it was fun. But, that was several moons ago now. But those are one of the things that just, it can either be a really great experience or it could be a bad experience. But for me, it was just super. I've really enjoyed this career. I've had a great time. It's not over yet. I look at Senior Wences. I look at Jimmy Nelson, Edgar Bergen. These guys, they literally perform till the end, and that's my intention. And it'll keep me young. In my mind, I'm younger than you, Landon. So I will always have that ventriloquism in my soul, and I will perform as often and as long as I can. But I also like the opportunity to fulfill dreams and opportunities in others and help them, find their talents and skills as well. So that's why I love what I'm doing with the Arts Council.
Sure, definitely. In wrapping up here, what are your hopes for the future of ventriloquism and for future ventriloquists?
Well, I see people like you and Darcy Lynn, and I met Darcy before she did the big television shows, and she seemed like a really outstanding young lady. And then when she won those shows, and I came back to the convention, and there's like 100 little Darcy Lynn's there. I mean, that opportunity to go on television and do that has done a lot for this industry. And so there's a lot of young people. And of course, Jeff Dunham has had so much exposure and notoriety, and has been, taken creativity to the extreme. And he's really the Edgar Bergen of our generation. He's got the marketing down. He's, he could just go on and on and on and never quit. And he earned it. He worked really hard. He dedicated a lot of his life, and he had to give some things up because of that. But he's got a great family, a wonderful wife, and great kids, and life is good. And I miss terribly a lot of our friends. Pete Michaels was a great ventriloquist, great pal of ours, and Pete was the first one to reach out to me when my wife passed away, and I think of his wife all the time, and of course Dale Brown lost his wife recently, and I lost a couple family members this past year. It's as you get older, that kind of thing happens more and more, but it makes you more appreciative of your friends, of life, of the opportunity to have love in your life, and if you can hold on to the good things and know that we'll be together again someday. Life really is short, so enjoy it, make the most of it, and be a ventriloquist. Don't go into medicine. Don't be a doctor. Don't be a lawyer. Ventriloquism is where it's at, kids. But maybe on the side, that medical thing. Be a doctor on the side. Yeah. Stock market. Invest your money. Landon, if I can tell you anything, start putting money away in a mutual fund and let it sit till you're my age, and you'll be set. Okay? That's it.
to be a ventriloquist, like invest your money in puppets? Is that what you're saying?
No. In a mutual fund.
What is he saying? Dale Brown is here. He said, "Hi, Jim. Great to see you."
Hey, Dale.
And so he's watching with us as well.
Oh, great. Dale was probably the most encouraging ventriloquist to me I've ever known. And anytime I would perform in Wisconsin, he was always there. I even stayed at his house before, and Dale and I have a friendship that will last forever, and he's just fun to be around. So I can't wait till next year at Vent Haven. It's going to be, they better get ready, because People just missing 1 year,
Yeah.
they're going to blow the lid off that thing next year. It's
Oh,
going to
it's
be
gonna be-
fantastic. So
It's going to be the best convention yet. I'm definitely
it
looking forward.
will. It will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jim Barber, thank you so much for being part of Landon Live and for sharing your story.
Thank you, Landon. It was fun being here. So good luck to all you, to all the things you've got going on, and just keep it up. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you guys for tuning in on Landon Live, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.